throughout my life, I was just trying to find a purpose. I've always wanted to inspire people to become the best versions of themselves, but I had to be an example in some sort of field. So with me, I was just trying to follow the omens life gave me and like the signs I got. And while I was at university trying to figure out what to do with my life, I was studying psychology at the time. Um, what I realized was a lot of people used to compliment me on the way I dressed. So when I was at university, I actually used to dress this way. I was usually dressed in a suit, not too extreme, but I was usually dressed in a blazer from Zara or something like that. And I used to get a lot of compliments, and people used to tell me they really liked my style.
Amos Madra.
Mr. Dasante, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Perfect. So my name is Mr. Dasante, aka Daniel Sante, aka Suit Bay. Sometimes people call me Daniel Sante. So basically, I'm a fashion content creator in London. How I got started was throughout my life, I was just trying to find a purpose. I've always wanted to inspire people to become the best versions of themselves, but I had to be an example in some sort of field. So with me, I was just trying to follow the omens life gave me and like the signs I got. And while I was at university trying to figure out what to do with my life, I was studying psychology at the time. What I realized was a lot of people used to compliment me on the way I dressed. So when I was at university, I actually used to dress this way. I was usually dressed in a suit, not too extreme, but I was usually dressed in a blazer from Zara or something like that. And I used to get a lot of compliments, and people used to tell me they really liked my style. So when I left uni, I was working in the bank. I was in the bank for like 5 years, but I never really felt fulfilled. It wasn't really my passion. And for me, I wanted to find something that would fulfill me and make me feel happy. So then I started posting on Instagram for fun as a hobby, but then I got a good reaction from it, and people really took to my photos. And when I used to take, this is before videos ever came out on Instagram. So before it was just like a photo sharing platform. So when I would put out photos, I used to put like inspiring quotes that I believed in, and I felt like a lot of people connected with me. And then I started to build up a following, and then time, and then Reels was introduced, in Reels. And then I started posting videos. At first, I wasn't actually doing well. I actually failed 110 times before my first reel ever went viral. But what that experience taught me is when you have heart and you keep going, you will eventually, find a light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to keep going. It's not easy. It hasn't been an easy journey, but I keep going, and it makes me feel happy and it makes me feel fulfilled. So yeah, that's the story of Mr. Dasante, basically in a nutshell. I know I've kind of gone left and right. Sorry about that, but yeah.
What an absolutely wonderful story. Now,
Yeah.
in the last couple of weeks, you've been blowing up.
Yes.
Your Instagram has gone over 1 million followers.
Yeah, 2.2 million. Yeah.
2.2 million to be specific.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
How did that happen?
So like I was saying, so the honest truth is, towards the end of the year, I felt like towards the end of last year, I was a bit distracted. I wanted to focus on myself. I wanted to start putting myself first and figure out myself. So towards the end of the year, back in the day, I used to always write down my goals, right? And you know how everyone writes down their goals, and then they go into the new year and then they try it for a week or two and then they give up. I used to be that type of person. So going into 2022, I thought to myself, if I want to see changes in my life, then I need to change up my behaviors then, because I keep going through the same cycle. I just felt like life was repeating itself until I learned a lesson. And I felt like every year I was just, I would achieve a few things here and there, but it wasn't ever consistent. So going into the new year, I worked with a brand called Munster Products. They basically gave me this book that I promoted once for them. And it's a book where it's a blank book, but it kind of looks like a old, like a treasure box, but it's like a book from back in the day. So for me, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna start writing down my goals. So let me write my goals for 2022. What do I want out of 2022? But instead of just writing down what I want, how am I going to get there? Because that's what's really important. Because I felt like before I used to write, oh, I want to get ripped in the gym or something like that. But how am I going to get ripped at the gym if I'm not going to the gym, or if I'm not eating the right things or resting, So I wrote down, so at the time I was on 139,000, and I wrote down what would I like to achieve from Instagram. And I wrote down, by the end of December 2022, I would like to be on 1 million followers. And that's why I wrote down, I will achieve 1 million followers. And I put due date 31st of December 2022. But then I also wrote down, how am I going to get there? And I said, I'm going to post every day. I'm going to post consistently. I'm going to invest my money in my photo shoots. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, basically. And I'm going to dedicate time, and I'm just going to focus, and I'm going to research. And I'm going to also research what does my audience want from me, because I feel like audience is very important. Everyone's audience on social media wants different things from them. What do people view you as? What do you want people to view you as? And then that's how I figured it out. And then from January 1st, I just kept posting. And then I had a moment, and then it just went up. And with me, I made a promise to myself, because like I told you, I failed 110 times on Reels. So 110 times I posted on Reels and never ever went viral. And I made a promise to myself, because all my friends were going viral, right? I made a promise to myself. I said, if I ever go viral, I'm never going to let go. And I'm going to keep posting every day. I'm not going to take one day off, not one day. And that's literally what I've done. I haven't taken a day off. There's every day I post, and every week I'm shooting content, and I'm constantly researching. So I'm a very passionate person. And now I can finally say that people, especially my followers, they look up to me, and they look up to me for inspiration, because they've seen this guy start from, especially people that have followed me when I was on 3,000 back in the day. They've seen that this guy always is posting motivational quotes and what he's going through. And they've seen me progress. And I think to inspire people like to see you be the example. So I needed to be the example. So when I had my moment, I just didn't let go. And to this day, I post every day. So yeah.
And yeah, Sorry, it's that consistency, and it's the relentlessness and the commitment, the absolute desire to make it happen and believe in yourself.
Yes.
These have to come from somewhere, and also, let's pull it back a little bit, because I think there's so much that you've achieved. Yeah. And sometimes we can just, look at the 2.2 million and think, yeah, great. But there was, the meticulous, relentless research, attention to detail, studying your audience, what they want and what you can provide for them. And you're not just, providing photos, giving people tips and advice. This is how you take a picture. This is how you pose for a certain picture. And you know what? Let me inspire you as well today. So it's so much more to it.
Yes.
I want to pull it back to the point where you're working in corporate world. Yeah. Working in banking. Yeah. You look at yourself and say, this is not me. Yeah. I'm going to step away from a safe, secure job. Right. Life is good. It's not what I want to do for life, but it pays the bills. Right. Walk away from that. So go into something that is completely uncertain. Right. And I can imagine coming from an African household. Yeah. Parents must have been asking, social media, what's that? Yeah. So talk to us about that journey. I want to know, what happened there to Mr. Dasante, Dasante, when he was going through that point of, that transition.
Yeah, so while I was at the bank, like I said, I was in the bank. I was working in retail banking, by the way, and I was there for 5 years. I didn't feel fulfilled, and even the customers. I'm a people person, so I like to talk to people. So when people come into the bank, we would always talk, and we talk about life. Even though I'm opening an account for them, like they would always ask me personal questions about my life and what's going on. And I just felt like being at the bank, people would say to me, "This doesn't suit you." Like, I don't know. I just feel like you should be somewhere else. I guess they could tell by maybe my aura or demeanor or, but they would always say, I always feel like you should be doing something else. This doesn't like fit you, like in terms of your personality. You seem like you should be out there and people should know about you for something you do, And even when I used to work at the bank, what I noticed is the customers would come in, but they would compliment me on the way I dressed, but we were all dressed in suits. So I noticed that, okay, everyone keeps mentioning you dress well, you dress well, you dress well, you dress well. And even at the time when I started my Instagram, because of the algorithm and because my reels were increasing in reach, people were coming into the bank noticing me and saying, "Oh my God, you're the guy from Instagram. You're the guy that does the pose videos. You're the guy." So for me, I just saw that as a sign that, you know what, I need to take that risk at some point. Because like I said, I was in the bank for 5 years. So it's not like I was there for like a 2 months. I was there for a long time to know that, you know what, this ain't for me. It could be for someone else, which I respect, but for me, I feel like you need to use what you're good at and use it to bless the world, basically. So with me, I just felt like at the bank, I wasn't able to do that. And I need to find something that I was deemed good at, that people could look up to and gain inspiration from. And I don't think the bank was the right place for me specifically, but it could be for someone else.
Yeah. And, you know, the point where you know, went into it full time, you know, talk to us about, you know, once now you knew this is it, this is me, I'm in it full time, and there's so many distractions, you know, little things, you know, people wanting your time in the day. You know, we only get so much time to be productive and do what we can, and I'm sure there's lots of distractions that were coming at you left, right, and center, and then also, you know, you got to still pay your bills and so on.
Yeah.
You know, how did you, you know, narrow that focus so that you could just stay true to who you wanted to be?
Well, like I said before, I think with me, it's, you know, I like jotting things down and reflecting. I'm a person, I reflect a lot. And the question for myself was, what do you want out of life? You know, what do you want? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to feel fulfilled? And for me, I chose happiness. And even though in the beginning it's going to be hard, because anything good is not easy, you know, in general, right? You have to work, you have to put in the grind, and it's not easy for anyone. So I was aware of this, and I just thought, you know what, I need to focus. So any distractions. So even like I said, I wrote down my goals. One of my goals was I'm not even going to go out partying. I'm going to just focus. That's what I said, for a certain period of time, because I needed to focus on myself, because I felt like my whole life I was so focused on chasing people, whether it was friends, relationships, or whatever. And I needed time to focus on myself for once. And when I started to focus on myself for once, that's when I started to elevate, you know, and get better at what I wanted to do. And then that's how I was able to eventually lead the bank. So yeah, I think there's a time for everything. But for me, I think at this stage in my life, it was about focusing on what do you want to achieve out of life. But also, you're going to have to work hard, Asante. You know, Mr. Dasante, you're going to have to work hard. It's not easy, and you will fail at times, but you have to keep going. And that's exactly it.
And where does that discipline come from? Where, you know, you're very young, the ability to, you know, structure your day into, say, you know, this is how it's going to look, and that's what I'm working towards.
Yeah. Well, for me, I always say, you know, the people you surround yourself also can determine how you behave. So with me, I like to surround myself with motivated individuals. So a lot of my friends think the same way I think in terms of being disciplined, and they want to do well in their lives. So I think when you're constantly surrounded by people that want to do well, when you call them and then they're like, oh, I'm busy working on my thing, you naturally think to yourself, okay, then that means I need to, you know. So like, for example, when I was at university studying, what I would purposely do is I'd purposely go into the quiet room in the library, so then I could see everyone working. So then it would force me to do the work rather than just working where everyone is talking, because then I would be distracted and start talking. So for me, I learned that whoever you surround yourself with can also affect how you behave. You know, so with me, that's what I did. I literally surrounded myself with like-minded individuals. And, you know, I speak to my friends daily and they motivate me, and I speak to them daily and I motivate them. So, you know, so we both keep an eye on each other, basically. Yeah.
And you know, what's the plan for the future? Because I think there's a lot that I want to ask with this. And I know this can go into so many directions, but yeah, let's just start off. Tell me the future. What can we expect?
So, okay. So with the future, I think with me, what I've done is, because before I used to be so fixated on the future, you know, I used to be like, oh, what about next? And I used to, you know, I've learned to enjoy the process, enjoy the journey rather than the destination. So obviously, ultimately, my dream is to inspire people to become the best versions of themselves, but I'm going to inspire them through what I do, fashion and motivation, right? But I think the main thing right now for me is consistency and keep going. You know, just because I've reached 2.2 million doesn't mean for me it's over. Like there's still more work to be done. There's still more people to reach, you know, there's still more people on this planet to reach. You know, there's only 2.2 million. So for me, I'm open to any opportunities that may come my way in my life. But ultimately, at this point in my life, I want to be consistent. You know, that's the main thing, because I don't want to lose that consistency, because I feel like sometimes, you know, you can reach a certain stage and then you just become complacent, and I don't want to lose that. So for me, I think that's my focus now, and being open to any opportunities, but for the future, like I said, inspire more people.
Again, this word consistency keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, the value in consistency, what it means, and, how we can apply that to our own lives.
Well, for me, I think consistency is very important because, I've met so many people on my journey, even in regards to Instagram, and even people that used to dress well as well. And what I noticed about these individuals was they were actually talented at what they did. So they were good at dressing up and they were posting. But when they noticed they weren't growing, they would stop after some time, and the consistency would stop, and then they would disappear because it was hard. So for me, consistency is keep going through the good and the bad. When you're consistent, you will eventually see results. It's like like I said, it's like someone going to the gym, right? When the first day they go to the gym, they're not going to see results immediately. Everything comes in time, and things coming in time, like patience, requires consistency as well, and being persistent. There's different things that are required, but I guess at this stage in my life, it's the consistency. That's why I probably emphasize on consistency quite a bit.
And tell me what you enjoy the most about what you do.
What I enjoy most about what I do, to be honest, is connecting with people. In my spare time, when I'm not shooting, I like to respond to DMs. It's so interesting how you can connect with people around the world, and everyone has their story, and just listening to what people have to say. So, for example, I remember there was a point where I received a DM from a lady, and she told me she sends her son pictures of me so he can dress like me, so he can dress in a more gentleman fashion. And for me, I felt that's good because I'm connecting with the world. I also get messages from people regarding depression, because there's not a lot of people happy in this world, and there's a lot of people that may have visions for themselves but are too scared because maybe a lot of people are telling them no. So when they see me post content regarding motivation on my stories, and then they see that, they feel motivated. So I get a lot of DMs regarding, what can I do with my life, and what's the next stage, and what about if people say no to me? So when they see the consistency for me, I think it motivates them. So what I love about my job is actually connecting with the people, to be honest. That's the most satisfying thing, when you change someone else's life, or someone says you've made a positive impact in my life. Today I was having a bad day, but today I feel better because I saw your content about this and that. It's really good to connect with people, honestly. Yeah.
Tell me about the fashion side of things, dressing well, and,
Yeah.
you're very dapper indeed. All is very sharp. In the bank, you were always commended for the way you dressed. Was this always, who you were, or did you find yourself at some point in life at university, or how did it happen?
Great question. I love that question. I think there's different factors. So, for example, growing up, I used to listen to a lot of music, right? So I used to listen to a lot of R&B, and my favorite singer was Neo. So I don't know if you know Neo. The singer, and he was always dressed in a suit because I guess his album
married.
And his album was called Year of the Gentleman. So Neil was my big inspiration, and so he was wearing a lot of suits. But actually, to take a step further, when I was younger, I was going to church, and there was a older lady that I had a crush on, right? And I was like probably 17 at the time, and she was 16 at the time, and she was like in her 20s, late 20s. So it could never happen. But I just remember I could overhear them discussing what would look good on each individual. And I remember when it got to me, they were like, what would look good on Dasante is if he dressed in a suit. So at the time, I was like, what? Because at the time I just used to dress however, but I guess she may have inspired me to try it out. But she didn't tell me directly, go and try on a suit. It was more so I had a big crush on her. And I was like, what? I'm going to go. So I went to Primark the next day. With a few older people, and then they just picked out some stuff that I could buy and wear. So yeah, I think that's how it started. But I think it was a combination of both of those type of styles. But yeah, it was during when I was at sixth form, right before sixth form. So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the actual story. I had a crush on someone, to be honest.
Had it not been for that crush?
Yeah. It's very strange how life works, Yeah, I guess, and also I think I was watching an interview once by, I don't know if you know Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah.
Do you know Tyrese? Yeah. So I was watching an interview by him, and he said when he was younger, he had a crush on a girl, and the guy she had a crush on, that wasn't him. He was bald, so he actually shaved his head bald. He had hair, but he shaved his head bald purposely, so you know, and then he just kept
and
that look
that's
the whole time through.
Now.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, we're all inspired in some ways by what people say, you know, the good. I guess what she said about me was with good intention. So with me, when I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe let me try it out, and then the rest was history.
And
but yeah, that's the truth.
It's a fantastic story. Do you still see this person, or
nope
moved on?
Yeah, that was, it was just literally at that time when I was like 17, 18. Yeah. Funny.
Do you work with a lot of brands in terms of sponsorship?
Yeah, so I've worked with a lot of brands. So on my Instagram, even on my highlights, I've just put down all the brands I've worked with over the last few years, you know. So I've worked with like Next Menswear, I've worked with Moss Bros, so a lot of suit brands, but I've also worked with brands that deal with rings, hats, trainers, shoes, just a lot of, like, it's a variety of clothing brands, basically. Even to the point of books. I've even worked with Braun before, with shaving. So yeah, I've done a couple of things in the past, yeah.
Do you ever find yourself conflicted when you're obviously, you know, working with these top brands, you get these fantastic gifts, but then you know, you hear these stories about, you know, climate and the fashion industry being one of the biggest polluters, you know, to climate. Does that ever, you know, make you think, you know, maybe we should be, you know, doing something here to try and change things?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think with regards to that, I would have to do more research into that whole climate situation before I speak on it, because I don't know too much about it, but I am definitely aware. I'm definitely open to conversations regarding that, but I would need to do more research. Definitely.
And that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And these brands certainly have their part to play. So it's unfair to put that pressure on you.
No. It's okay.
So, you know, again, you know, I like the way you answered the question when I asked you about the future. It's taking each step at a time. And again, it's, you know, just enjoying every day, isn't it? How can we find our purpose? How can we discover ourselves?
So with me, I feel the way to find your purpose is by actually being open to things. So through trial and error, you figure out, because I don't believe that there's just one thing that you could be good at. You could be good at multiple things. You could be a good singer, at the same time good at dressing up, you know. So there's many areas you can dive in. But I feel growing up, right, there'll be signs that will tell you that you're good at something. So if you're good at football, you will know, you know. If you're good at cooking, you will know, because maybe when you cook food for people, you get a great reaction when family's over and you get, you know, they want you to cook the food. Because, so I feel like you figure it out as you get older. And I don't think it ever ends. Just because I'm doing fashion now doesn't mean in the future I won't dive into something else or expand, you know. So for me, I just feel like finding your purpose is through trial and error. You actually have to be willing to try things, and you have to try. I think a lot of people are scared to try it, and that's the hard bit, you know, because people expect quick results, but it's not easy. It's not easy at all. No.
And that's it. It's that slow and sexy grind, isn't it?
Yeah. So 2019, I started my Instagram account, but I didn't grow for a long time, and that's what I mean. But I did it because I enjoyed it. You see, you have to. So with anyone that wants to do whatever they want to do, right? Because I get a lot of messages every day. Oh, Asante, Mr. Dasante, I want to be like you. And I'm like, you have to be yourself. You know, you need to find what you're good at, because everyone's good at different things, you know, and everyone has their moment as well. And are you willing to make sacrifices? Are you willing to put your money where your mouth is? Because when I was having photo shoots, it wasn't for free. I worked my job, and then I would invest my money into the photo shoots. You know, I bought a camera. You know, all these different things. A lot of people, you know, even my clothes. I had clothes, but I paid to get them tailored to my size, so then they would look good and look better. This all costs. So I put my money where my mouth is, and I was doing. And this was before I even ever had a first brand deal. You know, I just kept going, but it's because I enjoyed it. So with anyone that wants to do whatever they want to do, you have to first of all research, but you also have to have heart for what you want to do. Don't do it because it looks cool or because everyone else is doing what you think is great. You need to find out what's good for you, you know, and everyone's different and everyone has different gifts and talents. And I think it's best because we all need to connect in the world. You know, my mum used to always say to me, like, every job is important, you know, every job is important, because if there wasn't a cleaner, who would clean? If there wasn't a plumber, who would, you know, if there wasn't someone that was good at building, how would we get buildings? If, you know, everyone is here and has gifts and skills that we can all appreciate, you know. So I never look down on any job. my aim is just to be an example of what maybe people deem me as good at, and use that to inspire people to find what they're good at, you know? So yeah, that's my...
Very wise words. Very wise words indeed. So we've already come to the end of our interview. How can the audience connect with you? Obviously, you're on social media, 2.2+ million listeners.
Yeah.
Maybe we can add a couple more to that.
Yes. I'll continue to work hard. So you can find me on Instagram. And I do respond to my DMs, because I think another shock people get is I actually respond to DMs, and they're usually shocked because they see 2.2 million. So with me, if you send me like a heartfelt message, or you actually want advice about something, I always respond, you know, because the people made me, you know, is the people that showed me support, is the people that followed me. So I like to appreciate the people. So you can find me on Instagram, Mr. Dasante. You can find me on TikTok, Mr. Dasante. I'm starting YouTube soon, but I've got the YouTube. It's called Mr. Dasante as well. So check it out. Stay tuned for more content, because I will be posting every day. You may get annoyed because I will be posting every day. So you'll be seeing my face every day.
Wow.
But yeah, it's all for the good. So,
absolutely. Mr. Dasante, what a chat. You know, you are a legend. You know what, in essence, you're a fantastic business person. You worked in banking, and you know, you thought you walked away from the corporate world and from, you know, but yeah, it's a different sort of setting, but really at the core of it, you're a businessman, and, you know, you're very shrewd.
Thank you.
You've done a great job in, you know, establishing yourself as a brand, and, you know, again, finding, you know, your calling and going out there and, you know, blessing the world with, you know, your presence and your kind heart. And I just want to honor you for that, and say thank you very much for stopping by, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Amos. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the kind words. And also, I wish you the best in what you're doing as well. You're doing a great job. You know, it's great to talk to you. You're very charismatic, and you're very friendly as well. And you made me feel comfortable to talk and open up. As you can see, I was just rattling away. So thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
If you want some amazing inspiration, check out the videos next to me, and I'll see you right there.